Hello guys, I'm Shreyas again here, and I just wanted to make a quick, simple video for people who are wanting to get started with GitHub and Git, the version control system. Okay, so I searched a lot everywhere, and there's no simple tutorial for people who just want to get started. Just right to the Git using Git and stuff, right? Like this video, what I'm going to show you today, this tutorial is not for people who want to learn everything about Git before starting. Okay, it's for more for people who just want to get started with it. Just want to contribute their projects to the open source system, and just want to use Git to host their projects to show off on their CV or something like that. Okay, this is a very simple tutorial, and it is definitely not a complex, detailed tutorial of using Git. So let's get started. Okay, so before I say anything, let me just explain. Let me just try to explain what Git is. Okay, so let's think you are a student, right? You go to a school to write the test. So the test is something that you made yourself. Like the teacher gave you an assignment to draw something. Okay, so you think of drawing an elephant, and then you draw the elephant, and that is what your file is, right? And now you choose which school you want to go to. There are different schools in your city. So these schools, right? They're like GitHub, and there's like also Git Bitbucket. There's also GitLab. There's all sort of these schools, right? So for example, GitHub. So it is just something that hosts these repositories. Now, what are repositories? Repositories are a collection of files, right? Or you can just say it's a file, like a collection of all your files. So let's say, let's go back to the school theory. So you go to a school, you submit your assignment, and it's added to your file. So that is your repository in that school. So you can make many repositories. That could be a drawing assignment, there could be some other stuff. So that's the basic idea. Now, let's get started, alright? So what I do is here I create a new folder. I'm just gonna call it Git practice or something like that, and I'm just gonna put it here. Now, in here I'm gonna make a new file, and now this folder right here, I'm gonna use this to upload my stuff to the cloud, to GitHub specifically. And before you start using Git, you need to download Git for Windows. Now, if you're using a Linux distro, 99% of the time Git is already installed in the system, with the system. So let me just remind you again. Git is not part of GitHub, right? GitHub didn't invent Git. Git was invented by Linus Torvalds. It's a version control system. Okay, it's not like a software owned by anyone. It's an open source software. Anyway, you download Git for Windows, and you come to this website, which is git-sem.com. I'll link it in the description down. You download the installer. If you have a 64-bit version, you can get it from here. And what you're gonna do is there's gonna be a GUI version as well, a GUI version. Don't download that, because the terminal version is definitely very easy. Now, after you've done that, you can close this, and after you've done installing, you can go to GitHub. You can go there and set up a new account. It's simple, really. And this is my account. Anyway, to start a new repository, all you gotta do is you gotta come to the home over here, and you're gonna click on new repository, right? And I'm just gonna call this repository something like Hello World. Okay, so why not? So you can initialize this repository with a readme, and in fact I do recommend you do that, because when you use the readme, it's like putting a stamp on your when I say anything about the school, I'm going back to the school theory that I made a while ago. So let's say you go to the school and your assignment is given to the teacher, right? So now you're writing your name on the assignment so that it's easier for the teacher to know which file to put it in. That's what a readme does. Okay, so it'll let you clone that repository so that you can work on it in your computer. So once you do that, you're gonna select create repository, And once you have the repository, it's gonna say hello world, the name of the repository, the readme file. Now what you gotta do is you can go into a folder on your computer and you can just start your terminal, or in Windows case you can just use PowerShell or CMD. It's fairly easy. Now the Git commands don't change on systems, right? Only the place where you put them in changes. So for example, in Linux you're going to be using the terminal, and in Windows you're going to be using the CMD. So the only thing you need to know when it comes to CMD is moving around the files and stuff. It is pretty easy to look up on the internet. So once you've gone into a folder, what you gotta do is you put Git Init, right? And that is if you don't want to clone this and you want to make your own version of a repository. Like you want to do everything manually, all the hard work. And when you put this, it's gonna initialize this folder to make it into a repository in the future. So you don't want to do this in the beginning, because you will need to add a remote repository if you have one, or you just need to add the URL, all the manual stuff. So the easier part is creating a repository like I told you, going to clone or download over here, and you're going to copy this, okay, this URL. This is the URL of the repository. And once you come in here, you got to put git clone, and you're going to paste that entire thing in here. And as you can see, you can close the terminal. The repository, the folder has been created in here, and this inside is all your repository, right? Whatever changes you make in here, it's gonna show up in the repository after you commit those changes. We'll get to that part soon. So let's make so I'll just set an example file over here. Okay, I'm just gonna make a simple website, and I'm gonna call it index.html. I already wrote the source file of this, and I'm just gonna use that soon because it's just easier than writing it on the page over here. Oh, I shouldn't have closed that. My bad. So this simple website that I just wrote, right? There's a CSS file and an HTML file. So once you click on the HTML file, you can see the website I just made. Okay, the simple website. So anyway, once I do that, and you come back here on your GitHub account and refresh, as you can see, there's no change. There's nothing over here. That's because you're not yet, and I'm going back to the school theory now, and that's because you're not yet you submitted your assignment. Okay, you just have it in your bag. That's what it means. Okay, so you come back to your folder, and you're gonna click on terminal, open up the terminal, and you're gonna type in Git Status. Now what Git Status does is tell you the status of your repository. So once you do that, you can see that two files over here are highlighted in red. That means that you have not yet submitted these files. Now what you do next is you're gonna put Git Add, and then you're gonna type in the name of these files. So you can either do this, right? You can just name the files one by one. You do this when you just have to add one file, right? But I'm adding two, so I'm gonna be using the star symbol, which adds everything in the repository. Now you're done. And when you put Git Status again, you need to check the status every once in a while to know what's happening and where. So as you can see now, the two files are highlighted in green, meaning that they're on your desk. Okay, going back to the school theory again, you've taken out the assignment from your bag and you put them on your desk. That's what this means now. But you still yet to submit it to the teacher, right? So when you do the next thing you gotta do is you gotta put Git Commit, and there's a lot of other options you can use. To learn more, all you just need to do is put in man and git, and you'll see the manual, and this is only in Linux but not in Windows. So you gotta look at the documentation online in Windows. It's really easy to use Git once you get started with it. Now what you need to do is to submit that file, those two files, you gotta put Git Commit, and I'm gonna be using an extra thing over here called Git Commit -m, an extra oh my god, I forgot what it's called. Anyway, so I'm gonna use that. And what Git Commit -m does, it's gonna say whatever is in the double quotes next to the commit line. It's gonna use that as a commit message, right? Like you're gonna tell people what you added to the table, like what changes you made. So you're gonna use this, and I'm just gonna put initial changes. And as you can see, it's committed now. I'm going to put Git Status. Nothing is here because everything has been committed, and we just need to push it to the repository. Now what it means to push it is you gave the teacher your assignment by using Git Commit, but she still has to put it into your file, right? So you just gotta tell her to put it into your file. So what you do next is put Git Push, and it's gonna ask your username of your GitHub account, and then you're gonna enter the password as well. And I've entered my password and click enter, and now it's submitting everything. And now if you go back to GitHub and if you refresh, you can see that there's an index and index.html and a style.css file, and that's it. That's it. That's all there is to using and getting started with Git, right? I mean, this video, I know I started a lot and stuff, and this was completely impromptu. I didn't plan or write a script for this, but I just wanted to make a video to show how easy it is to use Git. And a lot of people, start looking at online videos, courses and stuff to, get started with Git. I say, screw all that. I mean, just get started and you'll learn everything along the way. At least for the basics, if you know this much, it's sufficient enough to put up your projects on GitHub so that other people can see and make changes to it. So that's all there is to using Git. It's really simple, and you can actually learn it yourself by looking at the documentation or the manual in Linux, like I said, the documentation in Windows or Mac, and that's it. There's okay, I don't even know what to say. You can see. So anyway, that's all I had to show you, and happy programming, guys. Peace.